Shalom, welcome to TGC. Today we have this video with a Christian elder guy speaking with Mansur. This video is from Speaker's Corner, dated 29th of October 2017, Brother Mansur versus another runner. This video is not about Mansur, but it's about this guy in the back, Paul Williams. Now, to be fair, the context of this video, we're at 7:14. That's where we're going to start. But I will leave a link to this video in the description box if you want to view it yourself. But this older Christian guy throughout the video was asking Mansur if he can pray for him, and Mansur was declining. Now, this Christian brother should have at least respected that, but he took it upon himself to pray for Mansur. And what we're going to look at is what Paul Williams has to say afterward. What our Christian brother should have done is just, if Mansur didn't want a prayer, he should have at least honored Mansur's request not to pray for him. He should have went into his own home, into his own room, and pray for Mansur alone. So my Christian brothers and sisters, if someone doesn't want your prayer, don't pray for them in front of them. Go on your own. When you're alone, pray for them then. But now let's get into what Paul Williams has to say.
Amen.
Okay, exactly.
Amen.
Did Jesus, our prophet?
Have you followed my prayer?
Can you not listen to me?
Have you followed my prayer?
As I said, I didn't want your prayer, so you are now imposing your prayer on me.
You're running away from my prayer.
I'm not running away. I'm having a discussion with you.
Waste of time.
So as you now realize, this is what happens, right? No, I don't face the camera. The discussion is over. So at least we learned something, that there are people out there who don't use their brains. They come here to just to pray for you. Sometimes it's important to use their brains, right? If not all the time.
But Jesus spoke about people like him who stood on the street corner, Jesus said, and prayed very openly and publicly, so they should be seen of people. Remember that Jesus spoke about that in Matthew's Gospel, and that's exactly what he's just done. So he's following in the footsteps of the Pharisees, instead of actually having a heart-to-heart with a sincere person, which Jesus would have done, but he doesn't really want to do that.
Were they not the enemies of Jesus? Yes, they were.
So you're behaving more like Jesus than he is.
So we have Paul Williams here, who we have already shown that he misinterprets our holy scriptures. Easy work. But he's calling this older Christian guy that just left, that Jesus was speaking about him, those types of people, and that he's acting as the Pharisees. Now, what I will say is, Paul here, again, is misinterpreting our scriptures. That, or he's taking an opportunity to bash a Christian. As I always say, these Muslims never let an opportunity go to waste to bash Christians. So, we're going to hear this one more time. Listen to what he's saying. This old Christian guy was acting as a Pharisee, as Jesus said, that those who pray in public do it for people to look at them, right? So listen to what he say.
If not all the time.
But Jesus spoke about people like him who stood on the street corner, Jesus said, and prayed very openly and publicly, so they should be seen of people. Remember that Jesus spoke about that in Matthew's Gospel, and that's exactly what he's just done. So he's following in the footsteps of the Pharisees, instead of actually having a heart-to-heart with a sincere person, which Jesus would have done, but he doesn't really want to do that.
Were they not the enemies of Jesus? Yes, they were.
So you're behaving more like Jesus than he is.
Okay, so Jesus, Paul Williams' claim here, this white donkey, claims that Jesus spoke about people like him, like the Pharisees, praying out in the public to be seen by all. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at that scripture, and we're going to see if this white donkey, Paul Williams, gets this correctly. So we're in Matthew 6, and we're going to look at, starting at verse 5. And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by all. That they may be seen by all. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you pray, go into your room, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees you in secret will reward you openly. And when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathen do. That's very important. Verse 7 is in contact with these other scriptures. Remember that. And when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows the things you have need of before you ask him. We're going to look also at Mark 12, starting at verse 38. Then he said to them in his teaching, beware of the scribes who desire to go around in long robes, love greetings in the marketplaces, the best seats in the synagogues, and the best places at feasts, who devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. These will receive greater condemnation. Now, who was Jesus really speaking about? This take to mind these scriptures we just read. We have standing on the corners of streets, and they may be seen by men. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you pray, go into your room, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place, and your Father who sees you in secret will reward you openly. And when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathens do. So does this old man who wanted to pray for Mansur, just for him right there, is this who Jesus was talking about? I would make the claim that Paul Williams has again misinterpreted our scriptures. Either that, or he's lying about it, to say that what Jesus was saying here is about what that one old man, Christian man, wanted to pray for Mansur. Because my claim is this is not what Jesus was talking about. But in fact, this is what he was talking about. These are the modern day Pharisees standing on the street corners, right? To be seen by all. I see long robes too. Look at that. I believe this is who Jesus was speaking about. These are who I call modern day Pharisees. Look at that on the corner. To be seen by all. Not a single person who wanted to pray for a single person just to him, right, standing right in front of his face. That's two different things. Who was Jesus really speaking about? Look at that. So if they believe in Jesus and they follow Jesus better than Christians, and Jesus is saying, don't be like that, but go into your house, close your door in your secret place, pray. There you pray. There you will be doing it that way. You will be rewarded openly. But who really wants to be seen by all men? You tell me, do I have this correct or do I have this wrong? Who is correct? The white donkey, Paul Williams, who we are continuously seeing misinterpreting our scriptures? So, what do you think? Now, when these Muslims do this, when they pray, they do this 5 times a day. Now, if I am incorrect, please correct me. But as far as my understanding is, they do this 5 times a day. Each time they do it, they have a different prayer. But the next day, they repeat that same 5 prayers at those set times, right? In the call to prayer. And Jesus says, don't be like the heathens who pray in repetition. So for 365 days a year, they say the same 5 prayers every single day, doing this to be seen by all. So who's really following Jesus? The real Jesus. What do you think? What do you think? What's your thoughts? What is your opinion? I see long robes too. So, drop your opinions, drop your beliefs, drop your thoughts about this topic that we just spoke about in the video in the comments. Who do you think Jesus was really talking about? What we see in these photos? Or what Paul Williams was saying was that one single man? You be the judge.